My name is Charlotte Davis, and this video was created and developed by the Department of Instructional Technology for Norfolk Public Schools. In this training, you will learn to successfully add an alternative host to your Zoom meeting, successfully create, share, and view poll data submitted by students, successfully share your screen during a Zoom session, and successfully use the whiteboard and annotation features inside of Zoom. This course is being delivered to ensure that you are able to access your Norfolk Public Schools Zoom account and share your session with students. It is encouraged that you use a laptop or desktop for this training. If you're using an iOS or Android device, an iPad, an iPhone, an Android smartphone, your experience will not align with this training. There are multiple means of accessing the Zoom website. In this guide, we're going to demonstrate the access point that's located on the Norfolk Public Schools webpage. If you go to the Norfolk Public Schools webpage, you're going to hover over For Staff, then select Zoom from the drop-down menu. When the Zoom screen shows, select Zoom Conferencing from your options. You will be prompted to enter your NPS username and password when you click on Sign In, and then it will take you to your Zoom login. Zoom is Norfolk Public Schools' virtual tool to conduct synchronous instruction with students. Zoom sessions will sometimes require teachers to utilize additional features found within the settings of their live Zoom sessions. So let's practice those settings. You have two options to schedule a meeting. You can look at the top of the page and click on the Schedule a Meeting button. You can also look on the left-hand side and find meetings. When you click that, your list of meetings will appear, and you can click on the Schedule a Meeting button. Once that screen opens, I of course can give a topic or title to my meeting. I'm just going to call this Sample Meeting. I can enter a description, the date and time of my meeting, but for today we're going to focus on some of the additional options that are available to your meetings. I want you to look towards the bottom of the screen where it says Meeting Options. Please notice the Enable Join Before Host option. When this is selected, students will be able to join the meeting before you. This should always be disabled. We do not want our students to enter the Zoom rooms without the teacher present. The next option that I want you to notice is the Mute Participants Upon Entry. This should be clicked and turned on. Students will need to unmute their mics if they want to talk, and of course the teacher can ask them to unmute. The next thing that I would like you to notice at the bottom is alternative hosts. Alternative hosts are very, very important. An alternative host could be an instructional partner. They could be an ITRT, an administrator, a specialist, a grade level partner. An alternative host can start the meeting. They can start the meeting if you're having technical issues or if you are slightly delayed or were ill. An alternative host can manage the administrative functions of the meeting that a host normally can do. An alternative host can assist with breakout rooms. An alternative host can manage the chat. So as you see, these are really important to have. To add an alternative host, just type in the email address of the person who you would like to add. When you click to save your meeting, your alternative host will receive an email letting them know that they've been assigned as an alternative host. They will also receive the link that they would use in order to start the meeting. I'm going to click Save. And now I need to double check to make sure that I've done everything properly. I have my date and time for my meeting. I have my alternative host listed. I have the invitation link that I can use to copy and paste, or to pull the invitation location and paste it directly into my Canvas, attaching it to a button. And now let me look at my meeting options. Enable join before host is turned off. Mute participants upon entry is turned on. I would suggest that you pause your video at this point and take a minute to create your own sample meeting, and then we will start again. Now that you've created your own meeting where you have disabled join before host, enabled mute before entry, and assigned an alternative host to the meeting and saved your meeting, we're ready to go to our next step. Remember that today we're looking at adding an alternative host and creating and sharing and viewing poll data submitted by your students. So let's look at our polls. I'm going to go into the meeting that I just created, sample meeting. I'm going to click on the title of the meeting to open my meeting options. I can see the information I previously added, my alternative host. My enable join before host is turned off. My mute participants upon entry is turned on. I'm going to go down to the very bottom. At the very bottom it says you have not created any poll yet. I want to create a poll. So what are Zoom polls? Zoom polls are a means of collecting immediate data from your students. They offer you the option to use single choice questions or multiple correct answer choices. It's a quick way to check for understanding. You can also do social and emotional check-ins, and it gives you very quick, immediate feedback on lessons and activities. So let's switch over and look at how you would add a poll. I'm going to go to the right-hand side and click on Add. When the poll screen opens, you have a couple of options. You have the title of your poll. Notice that it also says for your multiple choice questions, either single answer or multiple choice. And you have the option to make a poll anonymous. I'm going to enter a title for my poll. I do not want to make my poll anonymous because I want to know which students have submitted which answers. I'm going to type in my first question. And then I can enter my answer choices. I can continue entering answer choices. As long as I would like. Please note that there are a maximum of 25 poll questions that can be created during a session. When and why should you create separate poll questions? I've entered my first question. I have the option to add a question. Creating a poll before your Zoom session allows you to plan points to check for comprehension and understanding with your students. Creating separate polls would allow teachers to launch different polls at different times during the lesson. Creating a poll during your session would allow you to collect formative feedback if you notice the need to check for understanding. So if I want to add a question, I'm just going to click. Notice that my first question is incomplete. If you realize that you've accidentally left a question unanswered or with incorrect answer choices, just click on Edit, and you can go back and edit or delete that question. And save. Once I've saved my poll, it's going to say Poll 1 Sample, and I have my 2 questions. If I wanted to create a second poll, maybe for later on in my lesson with my students, I would click Add, and this would be my sample poll number 2. with my answer choices. And now, as you can see, I have two possible polls that I can offer during this meeting with my students. Now would be an excellent time for you to pause this recording, practice adding at least 2 or 3 poll questions to the meeting that you just created, and then we're going to pop into a Zoom session and look at how the polls appear during an actual session with your student. So now that you've had an opportunity to create your poll, let's talk about using your poll with your students. To start your poll, you're going to sign in and start your Zoom meeting as the host. Find the poll icon at the bottom of your Zoom window. It looks like this. Select the poll from the list that you want to launch. You named it, so select the one that you created, and then click at the bottom to launch your poll. Once you have launched your poll, you're going to see a screen similar to this that will pop up for you. It will let you know that your poll has been launched. It will tell you that the number of students you have. I have 2 sample students in my meeting, and none of them have voted yet. As time goes on and students start to submit answers, this is what you're going to begin to see on your screen, where the students have answered the questions and which options they have selected. As more students answer the questions, you'll see more answer choices that are popping up on your screen. And you can go through and click Stop Share Results. I can share the results with my students at the bottom of the screen, let them see the most common answers that have come in. I can click Stop Share Results and go back to my regular meeting. I could even stop and then restart this poll later. So I could use the same poll as an entrance and as an exit activity within the same class. How are you going to pull scores if you would like to look at this data later, a little bit more in depth? You're going to go back to your Zoom login. On the left-hand side, you're going to select Reports, go into Meeting Report, make sure you have clicked Poll Report, and you will see a list of your polls that are available. Then you can click the Generate button, and it will generate a list for you of your poll and the answers that you received. Please be aware that it does take at least 5 minutes for your poll results to generate. If you try to log in before that 5-minute period of time, you will not see your polls listed yet. So now that you've created and played with your polls just a little bit, let's talk about screen sharing. Screen sharing allows the Zoom host to display their computer screen to their participant. It could be used to display text, to share a PowerPoint or a Google slideshow, to share an image, maybe to walk students through a procedure, display a video, show a website. There's all sorts of things that you might choose to share on your screen. So you need to know the process to share your screen. You're going to click on the share screen icon. You're going to make sure that you've shared your computer audio, and you may need to optimize your screen to share a video clip. So let's talk about how you're going to go through and do that. So let me pull up my share screen and look at an example. So I'm going to find my new share button and click it. For some users, it will be at the top of the screen, for others at the bottom of the screen. Once I've clicked on New Share, this window is going to pop up. It's going to offer me all of the things that I have easily available to share right now. I might have my desktop, I might have a Google Chrome tab that I want to share. Down at the bottom, you're going to notice where it says Share Computer Sound and Optimize Screen Share for Video Clip. If I want to share a video of any type, I need to click the Share Computer Sound button to make sure that that's available. Once I have selected what I want to share, I click on it and click Share, and I'm ready to go. Our last option that we're going to discuss is using the whiteboard and annotating features. I'm going to walk you through the process of sharing your screen again. I'm going to click on the green New Share button. I'm going to select what I want to share. In this case, it would be my whiteboard. If I wanted to share video or audio, I would need to make sure to click that Share Computer Sound option. This time I'm going to select my whiteboard, and then I'm going to show you how to annotate. So let's look at the tools that are actually available to you inside of your whiteboard. I've clicked on my whiteboard, I've shared my screen, I've clicked on annotation, and now you can see my toolbar. So if you look up the top, for most users, your toolbar is going to be along the top edge of your window. This can be moved around. If you'd like to put it in a different location, you can just click and drag it to move. So on my annotation toolbar, after I've shared my screen, these are the tools that I'm generally going to save. Please note that the select, the spotlight, and the save options are only available if you're the one who started the sharing of the screen or of the whiteboard. So for your tools, the mouse is going to turn on and off your annotation tools. It's going to let you use your mouse pointer to point to different options. That button is usually blue if your annotation tools are deactivated. The select tool is available to you if you're the one who started the share screen. It lets you select, move, resize anything that is on your annotated board. You can select several things at once by clicking and dragging your mouse across to display a section area. If you click on the text tool, the text tool will allow you to insert text onto your board. The drawing tool gives you different drawing options. You can put in lines, arrows, shapes. If you are using a touch screen, you could draw freehand. Please note that when you want to highlight an area of a shared screen, you would click and drag just like you normally would. You have the option to insert boxes and circles. They can be fully filled in, or as you see marked in red on my screen, it could be like a translucent shape. For example, these might be a great way to create a Venn diagram. The stamp is going to allow you to put in predefined icons like a check mark or a pointer arrow, a little heart, a star, some cool little things that kids like to say. For your next tools, the spotlight will give you a little laser pointer that helps to get people focused on what you want them to look at on the screen. But you also have an arrow option where if you were displaying a sheet of text, you could point at the line where you wanted the students to be focused. Any of your drawing tools, your text tools, your stamps, you can color change by clicking the Format button. Mine is currently clicked in red, but if I click Format, I can change to any color that I might like to use. The last of the annotation include things like your eraser, just click and drag to erase parts of it. The Format, which I mentioned for changing color, line, width, font. Undo lets you undo your last couple of actions. Redo puts it back again if you made a mistake. Clear will delete all of the annotations that you have placed on the board, but you also have the option to delete the annotations that your students may have added to the board. Save is going to save my screen, and it's going to save all of those annotations, and then you have the choice of how you might like to save that as a picture, a PNG file, or as a PDF, and you can choose where you want to save this, generally to the computer that you're working. I now have my whiteboard option that has popped up on my screen, and I have different options that I can use. I'm going to click on text, click anywhere on my screen, and type. As I type, it's going to pop up on my screen live. Please be careful, you have to spell check. I can click on draw. I have freehand drawing tools, but I also have the option to draw different shapes. If I would like to draw shapes in different colors, I just go up to Format and choose the color that I would like to use. This is a very convenient tool. I can also use this to say add a highlight arrow for something that I would like to draw students' attention to. Stamps are available. Stamps give me small options, a little heart, a star, a pointer arrow. If I want to spotlight a particular section, I can turn on my little red laser pointer spotlight. I also have an arrow that I can use to spotlight particular items. If I'm finished with my work, I can erase individual sections, or I can click clear and clear all of my drawings or my viewers' drawings if I have allowed students the option to annotate. There are more annotation options that are available in your whiteboard. I love the whiteboard, and I do suggest that you take a little bit of time to play with that and experiment with it. It's very fun. Please remember what we were learning in this particular video. You should be able at this point to successfully add an alternative host to your Zoom meeting. You should be able to successfully create, share, and view poll data submitted by your students. You should be able to successfully share your screen during a Zoom session. And you should be able to utilize the whiteboard and the annotation tools while sharing your screen. Thank you for watching this video. If you need additional support, please contact your building ITRT for further assistance.